Hi, my name is Lewis Clark. Today, I don't really know much on the situation, but I'm trying to learn about the situation of the petrol. And what I see is that the TV is saying, well, the TV said, oh, there'll be a petrol shortage because there was a petrol pump place and it was empty, and therefore there could be a petrol, and therefore don't panic and don't buy loads of petrol. And that triggered the whole petrol buying escapade. So I then looked into it and learned, oh right, it's not really, they're saying it's not really a petrol shortage. What it is a shortage of HGV drivers, but then there's a certain type of driver to drive the tanks with the petrol in, because you have to have a special license for that. It's not just an HGV thing, but they're saying it's the HGV drivers and it's a shortage of, and should we go to get them foreign visas ready. And there was all this delay on it since last week of, oh well, should we, shouldn't we? Oh right, well we will, we'll just have 5,000, and then people saying, well actually we need 100,000. And then, well, should we get the army in? And well, we shouldn't get the army. Well, the army's helping train the drivers. Oh well, the drivers ain't paid enough. And it was like, well, I sort of knew the petrol problem was coming because I've been watching the shipping situation, and so I already filled my tank up before they said, don't fill your tanks up. But I've just been to a Shell petrol station, because what I note in this petrol-demic, or whatever they want to call it, is they're not talking to the petrol companies. I mean, we've got them saying, well, we've got enough petrol. Well, who says it? The government says there's enough petrol. How do they know there's enough petrol? There's enough petrol in the reserves. But then the issue I'm watching is the shipping issue. And so then when's the next load coming in for the reserves? That's a separate issue. Because it was like, okay, let me watch how this pans out, because we haven't got the petrol companies coming and saying what to expect. You know, that could calm things down, as they said. And then I found a video on YouTube of a guy trying to explain how the pumps and the reordering the fuel works, because he'd once worked in a petrol station. And he said, oh, they come every 3 days and it's based on what they sold in the last 3 days. So therefore it's like, should be that after 3 days the petrol pump should be full up of petrol again. So knowing that, learning that, I sort of saw this start last week, so I started watching, and I took the bus and was like, right, let me watch to see. So meanwhile the TV's saying, oh, you know, there could be a shortage of petrol, you know, some pumps have run out. Meanwhile, when I was looking everywhere I was going, they'd already run out. And there was one little pump in Withersfield or something out in the sticks, and that had about 4 in a queue, and it's probably sold all its petrol by now. So it was like, okay, well then, according to that guy, every 3 days. So in 3 days, they should be refilled again. So I followed it, and it's been going on since last Friday, I think, and today is Tuesday. So not a week. Anyway, I'm following it and seeing, right, well, so I've just been to the petrol station, a Shell, and so I went to get my money, but they were still open, but not selling petrol because they haven't got any. So I asked him there, and I said, when's the next petrol? So he says, oh, we don't know. So I said, oh. So he says, well, no, we get a sort of 10-hour before told that the lorry's coming. So I said, oh, and he said, we haven't heard that. We haven't had any petrol for 8 days. I live on a high road. Yeah, 8 days we haven't had petrol. So I said, oh. Is that normal? So I says, how often do you normally get petrol? So he says 3 or 4 times a week, which was like the guy in the video, but for the last 8 days they haven't had any. So therefore it's like, well, what is going on there? Because we're hearing, oh, it's a driving shortage, but it wasn't prior to 8 days ago, it wasn't. And we know this driving shortage, as if you look into it, which I did, it's gone on for a few years now that they've said we've got a shortage of drivers. That's because we treat them bad, and we also lost those through Brexit. And so there's this debate going on online of, oh, is it Brexit? Oh, you can't blame Brexit. Oh, you can. Oh, we've got enough petrol. Meanwhile, petrol isn't being taken to the petrol stations. And now, yes, one is thinking, well, when will you deliver again? No answers. But you've got the TV going on about, oh, well, if people stop buying it all, it should be all right in a week, equating it to when all the food was shortage in lockdown. But the thing is, it won't be alright in a week if you're not delivering it, and people aren't buying it all because there's none to buy. There's no cars really on the street. I mean, normally in the night there's quite a few cars, but there wasn't any last night. You'd hear me every like quarter of an hour. And now even like one here, one there. Because everyone's run out of petrol. Because the whole system. The news goes on about, oh, the blood bank, yeah, we struggle to get petrol. Well, yeah, we're all struggling to get petrol. No one can go anywhere because you can't risk going anywhere because you won't be able to get the petrol to come back. So, I've put my part in it. He's put his part in it. And, yeah, just informed of my experience is that the petrol hasn't been delivered for 8 days. No sign of it coming today, and it used to come every 3 to 4 days. So that's my take on it. I hope you're all doing well. Bye.